interruption. And she looked at
you
me
were a
as
priority and
I
you
was
were
a priority
special.
and I was special. That was amazing.
And in your observation, she didn't put off the other customers. She acknowledged them, which is important. You talk about that, acknowledging
Yes.
people.
Yes.
And she used your name. You
She
talked about
did.
how important that is as
That's
well.
correct.
But she stayed with you until the mission was complete.
That's right, until completion. And it's customer satisfaction completion. Until I was satisfied, I had my bag. She came from around the counter and gave me my bag and said she hoped to see me again, even gave me her card.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Until I was
Bloomingdale's
satisfied.
is on point then.
Very, very much so.
They made it to your book.
They made it to my book. Right.
They made it to your
They
book.
made it.
Okay, so you talk about, let's see, which section is this? This is the customer experience, chapter 5. And you talk about things that people should do as they're preparing to meet, and some things they should do prior to the meeting. And so, and what I love about this is, you know, you're very, very, very finite in your descriptions of what it is that people should do, so that there's no room for misunderstanding, because you're very definitive. You tell us to remove devices and don't allow interruptions. Use a well-lit room to have conversations. Why is that important? A well-lit room.
People might get comfortable and doze a little bit. You do have some sleepers who don't pause to stand up and take care of something that they're experiencing, so it should be well lit. And also for writing, some people suffer, might have bad eye vision stuff.
That's fun. So you just thought of everything. You said to use a round table so that all members can see one another.
Yeah, and it really increases interaction. I get to see the facial expression, each of us. We get to see the nonverbals, and it helps to keep us engaged. So round tables often work more effectively.
And I love this one. If more than an hour is pending on the agenda over lunch, serve lunch. Don't you hate when you go to these meetings? Well, first of all, it's supposed to be an hour. It's supposed to be from 11 to 12.
Yes.
And then it's now 12:15. It's now 12:30. No end in sight. You're saying to serve lunch.
Yeah, serve lunch.
Why is that important?
Right, I think it's important. It's just one human thing that demonstrates the level of commitment to customer service and the people who are present. Plus, it also gives a forum and an opportunity for information exchange. You could talk a little bit more about the information was disseminated to you, and even start thinking about practical ways to implement some of the things you discussed.
Right, and so these are helpful tips for employers, and whether it's a customer that you're meeting with or employees that you're meeting with, these are some good tips. Provide pen and paper for each member.
That's right.
Okay, make sure they have their supplies and have it ready if they don't. You say that if in a hotel conference room, turn off the music. See, this is what I'm talking about, the details. And like, I never would have thought of that. But that is important because that's a distraction.
It's a distraction.
That can interrupt active listening.
That's right.
They put on a nice little song from the 60s and, you know, people are like,
Right,
you know, and they may be looking at you, but they're, you know, they're in that zone.
In that zone.
Especially if it's Aretha Franklin.
That's right.
Okay, so your target audience for the book overall is who?
I would say I was actually thinking about 18 years old and older. But then as I learned more about students at the elementary level, and I've been doing some volunteer work there, some of this information could be helpful if they got it at the foundational level.
Okay.
So not necessarily exclude a group, but that was my initial target.
Okay.
18 and over.
Especially when you're talking about saying please and thank you.
That's right.
So let's talk about why that's important. I mean,
more-
we kind of know ideologically
right.
that the importance of saying please and thank you. But tell me with regards to exceptional service wise. So.
Yeah, it's just so important to pause and recognize the efforts of others. You don't want people to feel as if they are being taken advantage of, or that they don't count, or you don't appreciate what they're doing. It's important to get in the habit of thanking and showing your level of appreciation for the experience that you have.
Right.
And I think it should go both ways.
And one would think that that's kind of common knowledge and basic, but I know that you've experienced a number of times, myself included, where people just don't use those basic gestures of gratitude and appreciation for each other.
Yeah.
So, and I love that you spend quite a bit of time talking about that. So, did you tell me how long it took to write it? I know when you wrote it.
Right.
How long did it take?
It took about, I would say, 7 months, between
Wow.
7 to 8 months.
Okay.
I did have someone assisting and facilitating.
Okay.
So it was a passion that I wanted to document. So I would literally spend time on it every single day.
Okay.
Trying to meet goals. I actually set goals for each part of it.
Okay, so you're answering my second question, which is what was your process? So did you outline it, or did you just sit down and start writing? Did you know the chapters and then you wrote to the chapters? What was your process?
Yeah, it was an outline that was established, and I didn't necessarily know what chapters at the time, but I knew what topic that needed to be addressed. So I always feel that you start at the vision and the mission level. So if I started there in my thought and thought maybe that would make sense to be chapter 1, it wasn't defined that way initially. So then what I would do for that that section was to, that night maybe, I would just write information about what I mean by vision and mission, core values, talk about the tools, talk about how important it is for leadership to buy into it. And so it was actually a methodology that I used to get to the milestones, and it would be weekly goals that were established. So some information had to be moved around because maybe I thought that it belonged in this section, and I realized that some content of it belonged someplace else. So I was able to make that adjustment, but not initially, just data dumping and getting it out.
Wow, and this is your first book, right?
It was, yes, my first book.
Okay,
Yes.
okay. So any other projects in the horizon?
I have to think about that, because the one thing that I do want to give back, workshops. I talk about that, but now it's important for us to put the information in a practical sense, start to practice, to reinforce, to demonstrate, and to move in that direction, I think would be key. So not only offering workshops, but even presentations about what it means to do customer service. So I started doing some of that virtually, and I want to continue to do that to help.
As a consultant for organizations?
Right, as a consultant, correct, yes. I think it's important.
Yeah. Now you've worked across different types of organizations. You've worked in corporate, you've worked in nonprofit, you work in educational, academia.
Yes.
So any others that I missed?
I think you got it. You said nonprofit. Yes.
So the tips and things that you highlight in this book, would you say it would cross all of those?
Yes, including the union and the non-union environment.
Oh, wow, okay.
It crosses there, as well as education. I was able to palette the concept in both places, and it worked well.
Okay.
Yes.
Well, listen, this is a wonderful, wonderful book. I know it's been successful. I know it's going to continue to be. Tell people where they can find you socially.
Sure. Which way should I look?
At me.
Okay, thank you. Well, what you will do is contact me directly at pdawodu@gmail.com, and that's PDAWODU@gmail.com.
Do you have a website?
And I do have iExcel. It's Facebook. So if you have a Facebook account, or even if you don't, you can look me up through iExcel, and that's IEXCEL space. That's fine, iExcel, and you can find me there. But pdawudu@gmail.com. I'm always available that way.
Now you're going to get a whole bunch of crazy emails, but that's okay.
No, that's fine.
Well, thank you so much for being on the show. I finally got you here after begging, but that's okay. That's what friends do for each other, right? Anyway, Dreamcatchers, I'd like to thank you for joining us today, and keep watching because we have so much more to share with you this season. You can stream this show on any of our 9 streaming platforms, including iTunes, Spotify, iHeartRadio, YouTube, and the #1 network on the continent, the American Legacy Network. For more information on where to tune into a broadcast of our show, you can visit our website at www.writershavenshow.com, or you can check out the credits at the end of this show for more information about how to find us. That's all for now, and until next time, catch fire on purpose. Are we rolling? Oh. Hello, dreamy people. I am so excited to share some amazing news. For those who follow me socially, you may recall in June I hinted about some exciting news coming down the pipeline, and I'm so happy to reveal it now to the Writers Haven family of phenomenal writers and avid readers. Are you ready? The Haven is going international in a very big way, and I want to invite you to the party. Phoenix Rising Entertainment has partnered with Virgin Voyages to host a Writers and Readers Escape. We are inviting you to join us on our first annual Writers and Readers Escape, WARE, aboard Virgin Voyages Valiant Lady. It's a 5-night Caribbean excursion from October 6th through October 11th, 2024, which will be a great kickoff for National Book Month. We are hitting ports of call in Miami, Costa Maya, and Bimini, and we are extending an invitation to all of you to join us. There will be literary cafes, master classes, panel discussions, and our first Forward Legacy Award ceremony honoring the work of the phenomenal Miss Terry McMillan, the legendary James Patterson, and the uber amazing Stacey Abrams. Did y'all know she writes thrillers and children's books? You probably do. But in the midst of all that literary bliss, there are so many things to do on the Valiant Lady. It's a beautiful, beautiful cruise ship. And not to mention the fun you'll have at the various ports of call. The theater shows, music events, parties. Let's just say Sir Richard knows how to put on a great time. And we want you to join us. You will find the deets on our website at www.writershavenshow.com. But let me say this. We anticipate this event will book very quickly, so don't wait to sign up. I don't want to hear any of your sad stories about how you waited and then couldn't get in. So check it out, and I hope to see, S-E-A, see your face in the place. That's it for now, and until next time, catch fire on purpose. Going back to my social media.